I just saw the film and it's fresh in my mind, but I kept thinking attention to detail. I mean, always in animation, but in that one, all the more. Every single feather and hair on one's head is a detail, isn't it?
That's yeah. There are just on one character. Well, not Nick character, the fox. He has 100,000 hairs, and just about 6 or 7 years ago, we couldn't even do fur on these animals. We did a movie about 6 or 7 years ago called Bolt with a little dog where he stuck his head out the window, and we couldn't even figure out how to make
wind.
We couldn't figure out how to make wind to go through his fur. We had to cheat it. We had to come up with kind of a crazy program that kind of made the fur oscillate, but we cheated back then. But now we're not cheating. We're being honest with you guys, and we have really figured out how to do fur properly in these films. We have 64 animal species, thousands of different variants of the animals, and it really feels like a huge city built by animals for animals.
Yeah, absolutely. You created the whole world. So
Yes.
was it in your mind from the start, or did it kind of slowly build itself?
Well, I think these kind of ideas, they build and they evolve. It began as an idea of doing a new kind of talking animal film, and when Byron presented that idea to John Lasseter, our boss, he's like, great, we haven't done one of these for a really long time. We have to do one of these types of movies. However, I want it to be unlike any talking animal movie that anyone's seen before, and that means, well, okay, the world that they live in, what is that like? Because just personally, as a little kid, I remember loving books and cartoons about talking animals living in a city, but they always lived in cities that just looked like a human city, and I would think to myself, well, isn't the polar bear kind of hot, with wearing clothes and living in this place that's like New York, Wouldn't he be more comfortable like in the snow? And that was one thing that we quickly kind of said, like, what if in their world, in the big metropolis that they live in, that it's like one of our cities where, you have ethnic groups and neighborhoods where people kind of bring something of their culture or their climate into the world. So we created Tundra Town for those kind of snow-loving animals, or Sahara Square for animals that you would see in the Middle East, like camels that love the sand and the sun. And we have the Rainforest District for the kind of Amazonian creatures, where they've created this very complex system of like steam trees and artificial rain that make them feel comfortable. And it's kind of turned into like New York, where they have the different boroughs, like the Bronx and Brooklyn and Queens, where people have a place where they're comfortable to live, all under one big roof of a really cool city.
Absolutely, it's a series of microcosm.
Yes,
exactly.
I always love to ask that question: how technology helps you with that stretch in your imagination and in creating things that are also more detailed, etc.
That's true. Like every time we do a new movie at Disney, it seems like we're pushing the technology further and almost to its limit. Almost to the breaking point of these poor people
Are
who
probably like, please, no
more pushing.
You can do fur now. Be happy with fur.
The envelope has been pushed enough. Don't push my envelope. But no, they're great, because everyone who we ask to do something new in the films, really, they love their jobs and they love these movies, and they feel like they have ownership over these movies as much as we do. And so they will try their hardest no matter what we ask them to do. And they create worlds like you can't believe. And the world is so vast in this movie that we could go on for many, many, many different films. And that's wonderful. It's wonderful that this feels real, and you wonder what's around that next corner, or what neighborhood you haven't seen yet, or what types of animals you haven't even seen yet. And it's great. It's a great playground.
We build more than we use in the film, because we're, even with the story, kind of exploring what's it going to be like, and what different locations are they going to visit. And a lot of those locations were built in computer animation, and but they didn't find their ways into the story. So it literally is like within kind of a cyberspace is this giant city with areas still waiting to be discovered. It's kind of cool.
The world is a big place.
It is a big place. It is.
Maybe the animators should have known that. Yeah.
Yeah, don't tell them.
Don't tell them. Don't tell them.
They just finished this. So
Yeah, let them rest,
Exactly.
please.
No sequels yet.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Yet.
Exactly. The technology always changes, but the essence of what a good story is what makes animation magic
Yes.
from the start to now. So how important is it to get a solid script that you can really work from?
That's the most important, I think. That's where we spend all of our time, really. The story is the hardest part for us, and if we don't get the story right, then all the beautiful animation and sets won't save the film. And so that's why we spend so much time working with each other to make sure that we have a very, very solid story. Even there was one point where Nick was the main character of the film, and since he was a cynical character, as you were introduced into the city through his eyes, people didn't like the city very much, and we really wanted people to invest in the city and wanting to see the city preserved and protected. So we, very late in the process, flipped the whole movie upside down and made Judy the main character because she's an optimist. She's someone who believes in the city and the ideals of the city, and it solved a lot of story problems and made the movie much stronger. But our crew, who had worked for a year and a half on that other version of the film, panicked for a second. They have to, and we had to ask them. It's like, please, guys, please trust us.
It's gonna be okay.
It'll be okay. It'll be
This is
okay.
the right thing for the movie.
And so after they calmed
they
down,
do.
they do. They trust us, and But yeah, it's
They
true.
know
Yeah.
after making Big Hero 6 and Frozen and Wreck-It Ralph and Tangled that they have good leadership. That knows where to take these things to make it the best story and film that it could possibly be.
Plus, it always solves a lot of problems to put a girl as a main character from a female point of view.
That's right. If you have a problem with your story,
Yeah.
make the protagonist a female. Works every
Yeah,
time.
she's great. She's great.
It did. I mean, the moment that we made Judy
Yeah.
the person whose eyes we were seeing the story through, it was like a spine that was out of whack, that was all kind of crooked, and then suddenly it was like being a chiropractor or something, and it just straightened right out.
Yeah.
It's amazing how the movie will tell you what it wants at a certain point.
Absolutely. It also wants great voice characters. Let's
Yes.
start with Shakira, who's a huge star.
Oh yeah.
We
in our
love
region.
Shakira.
And who wrote like essence and music. She kind of
Yeah.
rhythms
Yes.
the film. Tell us a little bit more about working with her.
She's amazing. Her music is such a great representation of world culture, and that's one of the reasons we went to her in the first place. And we brought her in about 2 years ago, and we pitched her the movie, and she loved the movie. She'd never done animation before. She'd been asked many times to do films, but she'd said no to those guys. And this was the first film that she actually loved and wanted the message. She connected to the message, and she's very smart. She speaks 6 languages. She's very much about using her position to kind of better the social world and kind of make a difference in the world. And that, we thought, is the perfect person to voice Gazelle, who is a representation of what this city is all about. Anyone can be anything, and being very accepting. And she came on board right away.
And even when the story flipped from Nick's point of view to Judy's, and when we kind of caught her up on where the story was at that point, she listened and she said, "Oh my God, when I was a little girl, I wanted to be a police officer just like Judy because I wanted to stand up for the little guy. I don't like bullies, and when I was in Colombia as a kid, that's what I thought I was going to do with my life." So she, again, connected really deeply to the film and just was like, I get it. I know what this is about. And then was able to, that's what's cool about working with great musicians, is that we describe to them what the emotion of the thing is and what it's about. And then in a whole nother language, in music, they bring another layer to the film that we can't. It's like we can talk about what it's about, but they can actually they can manifest a song, that says it all in a way that we can't do, that just makes the movie even that much better.
How was the song created? Tell us a little bit about the creation of the song. I suppose she wrote it, and then you wrote it in the story. Tell us more.
Well, we knew what the song had to be. We knew we needed a positive anthem for the city, and an anthem that really told you about Judy's journey and what her expectations were. And so Sia, who is an amazing artist herself, wrote the song. And sometimes these artists will write 5 or 6 different versions of the song they'll have to pick. She came in her first try with this version of the song, almost note for note of what you hear in the movie, and we just loved it right away. There was something about
that's it.
from the first chorus where you hear that chorus come in, we just like, oh, we got tingles.
Yeah.
And it's when you get tingles when you know you have something good. So
Yeah.
we said that, we sent it to Shakira, she loved it, she did her version of it, and then it just fit. And that wonderful moment in the film where Judy is going into the Zootropolis for the first time. It's really incredible because it gives you, it's a great blending of imagery and emotion and music, and we couldn't be happier with it.
Absolutely, and it also reflects the themes of the film about positivity
Yeah.
and acceptance and tolerance, doesn't it? It's possible.
Well, and I think that's the definition of Judy's journey. You know, that she is someone, when we first meet her, that we love her because she's so positive and determined, but she's a little naive coming into the city and how she thinks the world works, and even a little naive about how her brain works. You know, that she looks at how her parents think, and she thinks, well, I'm not like that. I'm smarter than that. I don't think that foxes are, to be feared. But over the course of the movie, in the story, we find that there is a little bit of that in her, that she is not a perfect character, that she does have flaws of her own. And she discovers that about herself and owns it. And in doing that, by the end of the story, she matures into a character that still has that purity of heart, but then feels like she's matured, that she's grown, and that she's someone who's going to survive and reach those goals, that she always had.